Hey everybody, it's Bridget with the Inspection Boys. Let's talk about mold. Have any of you guys ever experienced during a home inspection where the inspector said there's microbacteria growth or just discoloration in the attic, or just flat out says that there's mold? What do? Right? Mold is that 4-letter word that a lot of people get really scared about. And I'm here to help you guys and hopefully give you guys some tips on what to do. So first off, what is mold exactly? Mold is a fungi. It's part of the fungi group, and it's everywhere, right? There's nowhere that mold is not. In fact, wherever you're sitting right now or whenever you're walking outside, more than likely you are breathing in mold right now. That's right, you're breathing in mold. What are forms of mold, right? Well, believe it or not, you actually have eaten mold before. Do you like dry-aged steaks? I do. Do you like blue cheese? I do. What about mushrooms? That's a fungi, right? That's a mold. What about medicine? Penicillium is a form of mold, and penicillin, the medicine, has mold in it. It has Penicillium mold, the species, in it. So the point with saying that is mold is everywhere. You eat it, you breathe it, it's in our medicine, and it's needed. So what do? Well, there's good and there's bad forms of mold, right? The good mold is, pretty much it's needed to break down, organic materials. That's part of the environment. It's needed in our environment. But the bad mold is what really causes the issues. And usually people get the bad mold and they just think that that's only, so to speak, black mold, right? Black mold, yes, there is such a thing as called black mold, but the real name is called Stachybotrys. That one, you can't tell that it's Stachybotrys just by looking at it. What do I mean by that? Is mold is one of those things where I don't care who you are or how long you've been a mold assessor, you cannot tell the type of mold it is based off of visual inspection only. In order to know the exact species of mold, you have to get it tested, and you have to, the lab will then determine the type of species that mold is. And depending on what species the mold is going to determine how dangerous or toxic that mold is, right? So black mold, it's usually a greenish, blackish color, but mold comes in so many different colors, and there's numerous different molds that have a greenish, blackish color. There's over 3,000 different types of species of mold. So do not judge the mold by its color or how it looks to determine the type of species it is. Has to be tested. Now, some people can assume, based upon the conditions or the material it's on, more than likely it's going to be one of a few different molds just on experience. But the only way to know what type of, species is to test. When does mold become a problem? Right? Well, mold becomes a problem when there's just too many spores in the air. And what happens is the spores, you then breathe it in. So mold, if you're exposed to mold for a long period of times, or even short-term exposure, you'll start to have different symptoms that come up. Some of them start with just a headache. Some of them start off as allergy symptoms. And in really, really extreme cases, if you're really exposed to, high level of mold for a long period of time, there's more, advanced issues where you can start to have neurological issues, more permanent issues, and in some cases, death too. But how do you solve this, right? We're talking about all the negatives, and mold really doesn't have to be so scary. So what to keep in mind is mold needs water and it needs a food source. So even if you just go and clean the mold that you have in your bathroom, right? Like usually bathrooms are the big place where mold is at. If you don't fix the source of what's causing the mold to grow, it's gonna keep coming back. So keep that in mind. You have to fix the source of the water issue. Mold always needs water, whether it's a leak or too much moisture in the air or whatever it is. Ventilation is an issue. Fix that first, and then you can work on, getting rid of the actual mold. Otherwise, the mold issue is just gonna keep coming back. So if you need a mold inspection, or you think you may have a mold issue, or if you just want to get more information about mold, maybe you've dealt with something in the past, feel free to reach out to us. Again, my name is Brigitte. Thanks, guys.